Well, we finally got Tiffany Stratton to talk about her heated segment with Charlotte Flair. In today's video, we are going to be discussing the unscripted exchange between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair from the April 4th episode of SmackDown, which ignited considerable discussion among wrestling fans. Contrary to the planned script, both performers reportedly came off the prepared dialogue, leading to an exchange of personal remarks that blurred the lines between storyline and reality. This deviation has prompted WWE to edit out specific portions of the segment from their digital video recaps, indicating it was so much that, well, we just need to kind of distance ourselves from this. Now, as at least I know, if you get on USA Network's YouTube channel, you can still see the unedited version of it. Now, there's been a lot of reports come out about this situation. There's been literal breakdown, sentence by sentence by sentence. Kudos to Brian Alvarez for getting that information and sharing it on Wrestling Observer Live. But the fact is this. Here's a few breakaways from this. Charlotte Flair got flustered by the fans. It threw her off. It threw off this entire segment, and that's why it went off the rails. Also, Tiffany Stratton bringing up things that she shouldn't have, that also contributed to this. I'm talking about the 0-3 remark. Keep in mind that Charlotte Flair's failed marriages was supposed to be brought up. The 0-3 line was not. You could tell Charlotte Flair was so flustered and could not handle this that it was so evident. Now, her mentioning Kaiser being in her DMs, she was grasping at straws here because, like, if you look at it, it's like, I would say we would just keep it with Tiffany Stratton, but hey, I digress. So Tiffany Stratton, she is the first to actually address this controversial exchange. She did so while appearing on the Babyface podcast, reflecting on the intense confrontation by stating, being so new into this business and being so new as champion, I don't think she really expected me to stand up to her. And I don't think she expected me to almost clap back. All I have to say is it's live TV, stakes are high. We're going into WrestleMania. I have the title. I want to keep the title. I'm going to pull out every stop that I can, and people want us to see our match. I think we did a very good job of getting people wanting to see our match and invested in our story. Now I'm ready to put on the best women's match ever and ready to go to war. End quote. All right, well, those are some definitely interesting conversations and remarks. So let's break this down. First of all, her saying that Charlotte Flair did not anticipate her standing up to her and to almost clap back, I would say she clapped back. Okay. Look at it like this. There was a narrative going into this segment, and really, there's been reports that WWE did this by design, which was Charlotte Flair had gotten the better of Tiffany Stratton promo wise. I know they did a brawl a few weeks ago, and I remember Tiffany diving off some barricade platform, whatever, onto a bunch of security, and I believe Charlotte got a piece of that. Outside of that, all of the promo exchanges, it was Charlotte Flair getting the best of her. Obviously, that split interview segment did not do Tiffany any favors, but that's what they did. And that's what they felt like was best for this program, which was to get Charlotte as over as possible. Shocker, right? But with this segment, you knew going into it, okay, Tiffany Stratton, this is nut up or shut up time. Like we got to go here. You got to bring it on strong, and I think WWE was doing that, or at least that was their intentions. The problem is the fans had no interest in hearing what Charlotte had to say. They were all about Tiffy time, and instead of Charlotte, trying to muster through the segment, right? She just shut down. She would start and then stop, start and stop. And I previously talked about this in a video, but it's like, you can't do that. You have to literally walk through them. If you look at the best heels that have dealt with this type of situations, it does not matter at that point in time whether the people in attendance can hear you or not. You are yelling into the mic so the fans, literal millions of people at home, can understand what you're saying, or at least can make out for what you are saying. And then you try to get it back to Tiffany as quickly as possible, and you just shut down. Okay. Charlotte didn't do that. She didn't know how to handle that. And we've seen this before where, like, Charlotte does have a history. I actually did a piece for Newsweek looking at 3 other occasions in which Charlotte really shut down, didn't handle a segment very well, and ultimately just kind of collapsed. So she's got to get that in check. Talking about how it's live TV, stakes are high, and that they're going into WrestleMania and her wanting to keep the title. Yeah, stakes are high. Emotions are high. It's live TV. You get one take. Mania is literally next week. She gets the title, she wants to keep it. Everyone, I would assume, believes, I know Vegas does, when betting odds came out, they believe that Charlotte Flair is going to retain the championship, and they don't give Tiffany Stratton much of a chance. And so, if you're Tiffany Stratton, you are desperately trying to do everything possible to get the fans to A, believe in you, and B, to try to convince management, hey, the right move is to keep the championship on me, not to take it off of me, right? That is what they got to do. And if you're Tiffany, you really got to go out there and you really got to make a statement with this promo. And I think she made a statement, but for the wrong reasons. Like Fightful Select, they had a report talking about how everyone in the company felt like this was just a wreck of a segment, a la like train wreck. I would agree. Like I wouldn't say necessarily both stars came off well, but that's how it went. I think if you are WWE, you got to really look at, okay, is the right, and I think this leads to another question, a bigger question, if you will. I think you also have to look at it and go, okay, is the right call really to put the title on Charlotte, right? Like this is another time that she's just gone off in in a segment. She's not handling this well. But more importantly, more than anything, this is your biggest question. Do you go, I don't know if it's the right move to put the title on Charlotte considering the fans are so into Tiffany, right? Like if it's a situation in which you have a babyface who is the champion or challenging for a championship, but they have such momentum and it feels like, okay, this is a now or never moment. And, we can do something different in 3 weeks. I think you have to really evaluate that and you have to weigh the pros and cons and go, okay, are we making the right decision? Are we making the right decision by having her, win the title, retain the title? In this case, obviously, retain the title. If it's the right course and the fans want it, and that we feel like that's best for business right now, then you keep the title on Tiffany. But it's Charlotte Flair, so like you kind of have to throw that out the window and be like, you know what? They're probably going to do a title change, regardless of the situation, regardless of the outcome, regardless of what I think, you think, you know, Bob in the third row thinks. Like we're going to put the title on Charlotte because by God, it's Charlotte Flair. I believe that, right? Just because she won Royal Rumble, just because she's Charlotte Flair, Tiffany is your future, right? You got max 5 years with Charlotte left, max. Like you got 10 to 15 with Tiffany, right? Like she's very, very young, high ceiling. She's got to work on her promo game, but like there's a lot there with Tiffany. Hey, you thought we were done here. No, no, no. One quick thing. If you would, let me know your thoughts on this video. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What I get wrong? What I get right? I'd love to hear your voice down below. Thanks for watching, y'all.